Nope, that's it. No more classes until the new class is announced, and I'm available to you essentially at any level you wanted to deal with me. People used to walk with me. I used to have a walk every day of the week, you know. I used to walk with people for an hour, somebody every day, and there aren't even any walks happening anymore. So all of that is available. Here I am. And that's it for now. Phone lines are open. Jump in. Comments, feedback, anything you want to say at all, anything. Let's do it. Let's see where we can go from here.
I'll say something, Stacy.
Please.
I think you're right. I think it's be consistent.
Louder.
I think,
Louder, please.
I think my problem is I'm not being consistent, you know, with the work. And today, it was so confusing because I thought I was doing, you know, I felt like I was checking in with everybody, and I wanted to do something. Thought I was coming from like a loving place, like that it was loving. But I had an agenda. I wanted something back, and I didn't get it.
That's not loving.
No. But what's so weird is I feel like I've been really like in tune with all the kids and the teenager and the little kid, but it was weird. Like I thought that it was a loving thing to do, but I had such an agenda and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, and that's often the difficulty in kid work is there's a fundamental underlying thing down in there. And this is not just for kids, but I'll say it for kid work. There's a fundamental underlying kid down there that we'd like the kids to change. We really want the kids to improve, you know, and that's a fundamental problem. We don't want the kids to improve. We want ourselves to improve so that we're high enough that we lift the kids into an improvement. And the same thing with all these physical problems that I've been talking about, you know. The barrier is wanting a healing. And there ain't no such thing as a healing. If you want a healing, you're telling me you believe that the affliction is real. And if you believe the affliction is real, then you are the barrier to the revealing of the spirit, of the spiritual body. So the problem is wanting a healing, and the solution is to forget the issue and try to elevate your realization of your God-like nature. Try to realize more of your spiritual nature, remembering that we are spiritual beings, we are expressions of God and nothing else, and we are expressions of good and nothing else, and the solution to that or any other problem is to realize more of the goodness that is me. And it's just so simple, and yet, you know, all you got to do is forget the pain. just ignore the pain, you know. And God, people have told me that, and you know, but pain feels very real, you know. The experience of pain is real. The thing that's painful is not real, and the pain is not real, but the experience of the appearance seems very real. So that's the problem, you know. We want to fix things instead of standing firm that there is nothing wrong.
I wanted like approval. You know, I wanted validation, but I thought I was just being loving and nice, but it was not the case. It's just weird to me that like I can't even tell if I'm. It's like lying to yourself. I can't even tell if I'm telling myself a lie. I can't even tell.
Yeah, you have to take a step back. Who do you want approval from?
It was approval from a person.
So now you believe people are real and that...
Yes.
And that
there's power.
And that approval is possible. rather than realizing. See, now, you're an expression of God. You're an expression, you're an expression of God's glory, a necessary part of the expression of God's glory. Without you, God's full glory would not be being expressed, okay? Now, where does lack of approval come into there? I mean, you're an expression of God.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I realize that.
And the problem is, yeah, I hear that, and no, I don't believe it down here in my guts. My kids don't believe it, and that's the work that has to be done, 20 times a day. I mean, over and over and over, and none of us, me especially, none of us realize every time that feeling comes up, it must be stopped. You got to stop right there and correct it. We talk about that in the kid work, correcting ourselves, but we talk about it in the kid work, and then it gets sort of forgotten until next week, but every time a desire for anything comes up, there's an absolute red flag that you don't believe you're God. Okay? And there's work to be done. And the work to be done is that you need to realize more completely that you are God. And
it really stuck with me last week. I'm sad this is ending because I love coming here. But all week I just kept hearing you say it's already perfect. It's already done. Because there's so many things that were upsetting me, and I just kept hearing you say it's already done. It's already perfect. It's already complete. And it gave me such peace,
Now you're one that I know does get lifted when you come here.
I do.
And therefore I want you to stay close. I mean, don't take this as go crawl away into your closet for 2 months.
My kid was like, I'm going to go get ice cream. My kid's just like, fuck it.
Bring me some. Bring me some, but bring it over here.
She wants to drown herself in ice cream.
Yeah, well, bring it over here and we'll have it together, But call and let's sit for 5 or 10 minutes, or call and we'll talk on. Stay close, because you do get lifted. I see you. You're feeling what's going on here much more than you're understanding it, as we all should be.
Yeah.
That's what wants to happen, is everybody should be lifted above it rather than figuring it out. And so find a way to stay close. I mean, really, don't disappear for 2 months or 3 months. You can if you choose, but you don't need to. I'm here. I don't do anything. I don't do anything there. I usually go on a 2 or 3 hour bike ride in the morning, and then I come home, and then I may have a doctor thing that I need to do, or a rebandaging of my wrist or something like that, and that's about it. I have lots of time.
What's a good time to call you?
Anytime after 11. And you have my text number, my cell phone number, and you can text me for a phone date, or, I'm not unavailable.
I'm going to call you.
Yeah, fine, absolutely. Call me.
Because, I need it.
And I'll listen to you for 3 or 4 minutes, and then suggest that we just sit together for 5 or 10 minutes. And great, perfect. Exactly what needs to happen, Get it said so that you don't have to stew on it, and then move on to getting lifted, Perfect. Love to do that with you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I have nothing better to do than have you people calling me 10 times a day, lifting me. Or every time you call me, you're forcing me to refocus, okay? And if 10 of you call every day, then I will be getting 10 times the benefit of any one of you, won't I? Because I will be forced 10 times a day to refocus and get lifted and remember my truth. So that ain't going to hurt me. Thank you.
Thanks.
Who else?
Hey, this is Kate.
Hey, Kate.
I have a question, and I just of what you said earlier. Appreciate that we're going to be taking a break, and I really appreciate you being available. And I'm going to take advantage of it. Thank you.
Please.
And my question is, this morning in my meditation, I got that there is something in me that even though I am telling myself the truth and I am doing my best to be realizing the truth, there's something in me that wants to punish people in the outer world. That there's some kind of like flash rage that I get where suddenly I want to punish people. And my question is that a kid or is it critical parent? You know, kind of like what the Apostle Paul was talking about, you know, are the things that I would, that I do not, the things that I do not, you know, just being seized by Chubb and, you know, thrown around by the ears.
Well, you know, the answer is quite possibly both. There's a lot of Chubb out there that wants to punish people or wants people to get theirs. Stuff like I did that for years. I used to. The movies I liked to watch were like Chuck Norris movies or stuff like that. You know, where there was a very clear white hat and a very clear black hat, and the white hat guy kicked the black hat guy's butt. Typically, you know, much better like Chuck Norris. You know, using kung fu and swift kicks. And my kids used to just love that. You know. And,
oh yeah, you too.
Yeah, and so I just watched it, you know, and that was fine. I didn't, and so there were at that time there were kids that really wanted, you know, like, you know, they had, you know, I had been good for so long. Yeah, I was one of the good boys, and you know, I had been good for so long, and so many people weren't good, and my kid really wanted them to get theirs. But there's also built into Chubb a very strong, large number of people that want wrong to be punished unless they're doing it. And so both of those contingencies are very real, and you can identify the voice, and Chubb is the universal parent, perhaps. But yes, you listen to it and see if it talks back to you. See if it, you know, you can figure out if it's a kid or not. And if it's a kid, love her. And if it's a Chubb, refuse to let it in. That was another thing I was thinking about. You know, Mary Baker Eddy, the Christian Science founder, used to talk about standing porter at the door and not letting evil or not letting error enter. And she meant 24/7.
Oh yeah, that's very clear to me.
Yeah.
And that's why when it comes on in such a flash, that it feels like I don't have a choice, even though more and more that I'm becoming aware of it, I am making a choice, and then it's kind of like I'm sweeping up after myself. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to, I need the you know, to clean my doorway, you know. Yeah, it feels to me like getting that piece clearer in me. And the realization that it is not a real voice. And then I don't know, it feels like a subconscious just reflex to just suddenly be in a rage and suddenly want, you know, revenge and a reckoning, and it just feels like I'm teased by it at times. But I know that culturally, you know, revenge is like it's the next step to, you know, from feeling wronged. It's like there's no praying for your enemies or forgiving 70 times 7. There's just, you know, you're wronged and then you get revenge and then you feel better. Yeah. You know, that's the formula. And yeah.
But if you go into a rage, then I'm very suspicious that it's a kid.
Okay.
If there's a strong emotion behind it, I mean, Chubb just sort of assumes that the natural thing to do is get revenge, you know, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, that kind of thing, you know, that's just old-time, all-time belief, you know, that, but there's, I have a sense, and I could be wrong, but my sense is that the Chubb stuff is more calculating, or just assume, you know, yeah, well, you know, he did that to you, you should do that to him, they did that to you, sue him back, they did that, you know, find a way to get, you know, that's the Chubb thing, and it's not a highly emotional thing, whereas if there's a rage involved, or anger involved, then probably it's a kid. But explore that, and don't assume I'm right, explore that, and see what you find.
Yeah, 4 to 20 pages a day. I heard the invitation. Yeah, because when there is strong emotion behind it, I mean, I feel this overwhelming urge to punish, and it feels like it's being fueled by rage. So, yeah.
Then immediately dive in right there, and, you know, and just start a dialogue. Who shall we punish? What shall we do to them? You know, start a dialogue.
Yeah,
and get somebody talking, and perhaps very soon who you're talking to will be discovered.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, just jump right in. Yeah. Who should we punish? You know, what should we do to them? Why should we punish them? Why do they deserve that? You know, and then you can find out who you're talking to, and find out why should we punish them? Why do they need to be punished? You know, and eventually you'll probably get to a script.
Okay, yeah, because I was in my meditations this morning, or my contemplations, I should say, at that point. I was approaching it from kind of the opposite direction of, you know, what do we get out of punishing, you know, whoever? And I kind of hit a blank spot. You know, like what do we get out of the act of punishing? But that. I like taking it from the other side, which is, you know, let's go. Who should we do it? You know. Yeah. I'll give that a shot.
You can get the dialogue going and find out who it is you're dialoguing with, I think.
Okay, excellent. I will do that.
And let me know by email.
I sure will.
By email or whatever, or telephone. Let me know. I'm very interested in all this stuff, you know.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Lee, and thank you everybody for doing this. And yeah, we'll get back together when we do.
Yes, we will.
Hi, Lee. This is Ann.
Hi, Ann.
Hey. Well, I'd like to just talk a minute about some of the stuff you said last week. I think, like, what happens with me when you talk about the truth at the beginning of the class is that it just, I can't get it, and until I sit down and re-listen and stop the tape and ponder some of it, and so I did that this last week, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up was something you said about individualization. So I am an individualization of God or spirit or divine or being, consciousness. I guess it's all the same.
Yep.
Right? It's all conscious. Okay. But we're all different from each other as individualization. Clearly, we're all different in how we appear.
Yep.
Okay. And I think he's been talking about it. Each of us has a uniqueness about us as an expression of God. And then you went to that's the thing that really stuck out was that individualization is not a person, a crow, or, I just added like a dog, a cockroach, a table. but the individualization is spirit. It's not the objects I see.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
So this is what I kind of have to do. I kind of have to look at it and add my own. So
This is exactly what I do with the Joel tapes every morning.
yeah.
It's exactly
And
what
I
I
do
do.
that too with his. Okay, and I do that too with his, and I changed some wording, like just that you were talking about the foundation of peace, and so I wrote, I am complete and fulfilled. You talk about God being finished, but I'm done and finished too, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and my individual awareness.
But Anne, you are not completely realized.
That's the thing.
Yeah, you are done and complete and fulfilled and glorious, and the you that's talking to me right now doesn't fully realize that yet.
Absolutely. So then it would be true to say I can witness myself as an expression and as a body that God is experiencing itself as if my state of consciousness is high enough, which it is not.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that, okay.
Yep.
And then Joel, I thought, in one of his takes on that he talked about faith, which I thought was profound, because I take of faith as like a blind faith, like, and he talks about it. If you don't know how to drive a car, but you have faith that you can drive a car, then look out. Anybody that's on the road. But if you know how to drive the car and you have faith, it's because you've experienced driving a car. It's that whole experience thing that keeps just coming back to me and back to me. The awareness and the experience. And like he talks about, each of us is already complete. We just aren't conscious of it. Like he talked about every invention, like radio, light, TV, was already in consciousness.
Yep.
And then he said, I think that's what I like about him most, is how he brings up these examples, like the car and the driving a car in space. And he said Jesus could have covered more ground in a jet. And he said that and it was always there, but no one was conscious of it.
Right.
And then I thought about, but to have a jet, all the parts of the jet have to be brought into consciousness first, and isn't that kind of like what you talk about as far as the acorn and the sprouts and the sapling and the oak tree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then it's not likely that the consciousness of a jet would disappear any more than my full awareness
No.
would disappear.
But the point is that, before Kitty Hawk, nobody understood that it was the shape of the wing that allowed an airplane to fly.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason an airplane stays up is because of the shape of the leading edge of the wing. It makes the pressure under the wing stronger than the pressure above the wing, and so the plane goes up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a correctly shaped wing 100,000 years ago would have flown just as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. The law of aerodynamics has been permanently true, but the airplane is not such a good example because it takes because there's also a great deal of technology involved in machining the airplane and everything like that. But the Wright brothers did okay. So jets required whatever the law is that jet engines are based on. But the truth has always been there. All these principles have always been true, and so we're just discovering them, but we also have been developing the technology that's necessary to implement the discovery.
Yeah, and I guess what I was thinking, and maybe I'm off on this, but I'm thinking without all the books and the teachers and the teachings and the workshops and the meetings and the experiences, I could not be fully realized individualization of God or spirit. It seems like it's just, like you say, there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And there's and I don't know that I'm going to get there in this, why would I know if I'm going to get there in this life, or am I shooting for this life, or am I going to be in the next life? And doesn't Joel say in the next life that we'll take this progress with us, if not more?
Yep. Yep, we do. I mean, everything we accomplish spiritually goes with us. Everything all our progress stays with us.
Yeah, and so I don't know if I'm going to be fully realized. And I know I know there's a difference between a healing consciousness and like a Byron Katie or a Eckhart Tolle. I mean, they were like instantaneously shifted.
Yeah.
A lot of, and I don't know that. I don't know. It gets confusing to me sometimes. I don't know. I get frustrated too. I mean, I'm sitting there with two broken bones. And I'd like to have that not happen, but of course it's not really happening anyway. But I mean, I'm just not there, and I feel like if somebody said to me, I guess I'm not working hard enough, I'd probably say, well, I guess you're doing the best you're able to do.
Yep,
but we are all.
Yep, absolutely true. That's absolutely true. That's one of the basic dilemmas, we're not working hard enough, and we're working as hard as we can.
I know, that's the part.
Oh well, but the point of the talk is one of the points of this, although it wasn't in my mind at the time, one of the things that this introduction today may accomplish is it may heighten your understanding of how much work needs to be done and how important it is, thus enabling you to do more.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yes, exactly.
Byron, Katie, and those people, had moments of awareness. But you could have a moment of awareness in the next second and have a great clarity revealed to you. You never know about that sort of stuff, nor do we know how much work they did before. I've been told by somebody that this was the third time that Joel took a body and came in trying to teach the words of Jesus as Jesus spoke them rather than as the Orthodox Church taught them. So apparently this was Joel's third effort. And so there was a lot of work before that, and it still took him years to learn how to meditate, I mean, and by the way, the word faith, I have no idea what the word faith means. There's no slot for it. There's no useful use for the word faith. I knew when I was 11 or 12 and first dealing with the issue of throwing out God, I realized that my problem was that I didn't have faith. But I also realized that if I didn't have faith and there was a God, it was God's fault that I didn't have faith, not mine. So, oh well. Get your shit together, God.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, he said that faith is something known and understood, like 2 + 2 is 4, and I thought, God, I never even looked at it. I mean, I know we say in AA, faith without without works is dead, but I think faith without understanding is dead. I mean, or
And if you have the understanding, it's not faith, it's knowledge.
It is. It's experience. I mean, it shoots the whole faith out
That's
the
why I
window.
say I don't find any useful place to apply the word faith, you know. Faith as a belief is nonsense. It may or may not be true. And faith because you know it to be true is not faith either. That's experience, yeah. Exactly. You're right.
And that, yeah, and that's kind of, yeah, it's kind of what he said. He said as long as one is believing or having faith in that which is unknown, untried, unproven, then anything can happen. And most things do. You know?
At the same time, when I was 12, I was talking with my mother. I told her I didn't want to go to church anymore. And she said, and the reason was I didn't believe in God, I didn't believe in Christ, I didn't believe in any of that stuff, you know, I was an arrogant little boy. But, you know, and her comment was that 500 million people can't be wrong. And my comment was 2 billion Buddhists can't be wrong. Okay, so there's 2.5 billion people full of belief to no avail. You know, belief is useless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I never heard him talk about that. I'm sure I heard that tape, but for some reason it just struck in. So, yeah, and I hear what you say about the 2 months off, and I think that's good. And I hear for me, I need to do more work too. And I sponsor real newcomers, you know, and they go a few things with doing the stuff, and then they fall back and see if they're doing the stuff, and we're all seeing that doesn't work, and so I'll probably be emailing you because I'm up so early in the morning. I'm 3 hours ahead of you anyway, so I'll probably be emailing you some things just because I really have gotten a lot of help from these back and forth conversations with you weekly. So I'll probably continue that by email.
Yeah, great. And
yeah.
And the tape emails will continue to go out.
Yeah.
That's not going to. I'm going to continue to send out the tape emails every day, so that's all fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be anxious to see what unfolds for the next thing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, but we need to get reinvigorated.
Yeah, I think that's always been what we've done anyway. So, I've been with you. Okay, cool. All right, well, thanks, Lee.
Okay, thank you. Let's take 5 minutes and come back at 15 minutes after the hour. That way I can go to the bathroom and get more tea.